Hey, you're watching Marketing Tip Tea Time live at 2:22 Mountain Time here in the studio in Greeley, Colorado at the Macy Jones Collective. And today we have a very special guest who you can probably see right next to me if you look slightly this direction. This is Brandon, and he's in the studio with us today, and hopefully you can hear us. We have a new mic too. I have to give some shout outs to everyone who helped us out: Peter Romero, Phil Van Drunen, Josh French, our producer upstairs, and my stunt double, Keith Whipf, who sat in yesterday while the studio was being set up to be, have the camera and the mic and everything work. So thank you to Keith, and thank you to Daniel James, who also helped out with some of the miscellaneous equipment that you see. We've got a new fancy microphone. If you've been paying attention, here it is. Oh, hopefully it sounds a lot better than we sounded before, but maybe it doesn't. So you can tell us in the comments if it sucks or not. Today, we have Brandon Hernandez, and let me tell you, he's from Whole Brain Consulting, and we are so appreciative, Brandon, because not only has he come into the studio to do the show with us, but he's the money bags that makes it all happen.
Already off to a great start.
and so, speaking of our sponsors, which his business is one of them, we'll dive into Whole Brain Consulting. They are an outsourced operations consultancy that specializes in the consumer products industry, providing solutions catered to your production. Services include QA, QC, supply chain, operations, logistics, R&D, and private equity due diligence. We also have another sponsor who came in just this season, and we're so grateful for them as well, Color World. Color World is your one-stop shop for everything anime, from metal bookmarks to teas to hangouts with famous voice actors. Color World is the place to grab something for yourself or for a friend. Go to colorworldlive.com for more information. All right, drum roll, but the mic is really sensitive, so I can't clip it. Brandon Hernandez is the co-founder and owner of Whole Brain Consulting. Before Whole Brain Consulting, he spent years in food manufacturing, mainly in his own kitchen. Besides Brandon's work with Whole Brain Consulting, he worked with Naturally Boulder, Naturally Network, Norco Rush, Soccer, CSU, and CU. And he's right here, so we don't have to do the cut to him. Thank you for coming in the studio. Oh my gosh, he's in the studio today, everyone.
Live and in person.
I can actually... Here he is.
Don't do that.
So, he wanted to come in the studio because he wanted to see what's going on, and here he is in the flesh, in front of your eyeballs on the screen.
It was a little scary when you walked me through the dungeon part to get to this part, but now that I'm here, it's very nice.
Yeah, so this building that we're in used to be a mortuary, so it looks like you're walking down a mortuary hall before you get to the studio, and that's always really fun. But
it's a great time.
It was great, and there's a random hole just in the floor. Everybody wonders what it is, and
he's going to take you on a tour one of these days.
One of these days, for sure. So first, though, we always want to talk about the tea. Today we have Bigelow's Earl Grey, which is Brandon's favorite. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to
Don't spill it on the iPad.
Let's see here. Oh, boy, not the Neumann either. Okay. T-cam. Here we go. I don't see a T-cam up. Well, maybe the T-cam's going. Maybe it's not. There it goes. It's T-camming. It looks like it's stuck or something. That's interesting. Anyway, there it is. There you can see. That's how we... All right, so... I gotta pour a little bit of this for you as well.
That's what happens when you're the first one in the studio.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. Is it obvious?
No, you're fine. I'm getting tea either way. It's good.
There you go. All right. So I always take a little sip right away, right off the bat. And you know what? I'm just gonna dump that out right there. All right, because that's not what we're drinking today. Psych. All right. Today I actually got. We're gonna try this for the first time. We have Hoplark hop tea. All right, and we got two kinds. All right. We've got the calm one, and then we've got the really hoppy one.
I'm gonna take the really hoppy one because you need to have a hop tea and relax.
All right. So do I do this?
Oh no, you can do that one too.
It's fine. I got so we're gonna try this. Can you tell us anything about this? What was the impetus behind?
Well, so They are a member of the Boulder community.
Okay.
So it's all brewed and made in Boulder. I've known Dean and his team there for a number of years, and it's just great product. So
Ooh, did the microphone get that pop? Was that?
I hope so. Thanks for
real?
having me in.
Cheers.
There you go.
You know what? It's a nice subtle hop, actually. It's not in your... So, I was thinking more of like IPA hop, where it, punches you in the...
Nope.
No,
None of
not
them
at
are
all.
like
This
that.
is really good.
And they do I'm not here to pimp for them the whole time, but they do have random SKUs that they'll run out if you're one of their... Used to be if you're one of their D2C, I'm sure it's bigger than that now, but they'll do specialized flavors and
Wow.
ship them out to you. So
That's
good
great.
stuff.
Oh
Made
my
right in
gosh.
Boulder. Give it a shot.
Made right in Boulder. And we got this at the local King Soopers. King Soopers and Target both carry them. They are in a different section other than what you'd think. They're not in tea, they're not in beer, and they are also not in the kombucha section. They're actually in what they call the health drink section, which is separate than the kombucha. Is a sort of end cap that they had it in. And so
Yep.
I had to ask someone where it was. I was walking around the store for like an hour going, where the hell is this? But we found it. No, this is actually, I was so skeptical. I don't usually like hops that much. I'm not an IPA guy. So when I saw that, I said, we're going to try it, and there may be a spit take on the show, but
they
no,
do
it's,
it well.
it's really good.
They do it well. They do some citrus ones and all that other stuff.
So it's carbonated water, hops, and organic black tea and citric acid. That's it. That's all.
it.
It's natural.
It is very natural.
all,
It's good for you.
It's all natural. All right, so today we're going to actually dive into Brandon's story, how he got started with being the owner-founder of a huge company that deals with food right here. And you're still in Loveland, right? Is that where you're?
So we have so because of COVID, we had an office in Loveland that was moving to Boulder.
Oh, okay.
And then we had one in Chicago, but both of those are now defunct, as it were. I figure we hire adults, they all act like adults, so we'll just treat them like adults, so everybody gets to work from home.
Wait, you hire adults?
Yes. people
Different
that are-
than most, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody I don't have to coach through life. That's
Perfect.
exactly what we need to do. So
Nice.
I was actually flying back from Grand Rapids when Colorado went into lockdown, and literally my Colorado office is still still sitting in a storage unit.
Wow.
So all my stuff is still sitting there.
Wow. So you're just working from home? Or
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that's the benefits of a home office and of technology. I wouldn't want to redo COVID without technology, that's for sure.
Oh, technology's been great. Mm-hmm. It's been fantastic. So, okay, so there was this hiatus to the in-person stuff, I guess. Give us a little bit of how you pivoted, I guess, during COVID. I know we had sort of talked about how trade shows were all gone, everything sort of went whoosh. How did you pivot? How did you...
Again, I think it's more we were the benefactors of technology, right? It's so a lot of the stuff that we do, because it's remote or it's outsourced, and we don't necessarily have to have an ass in a seat somewhere all the time.
Right.
The only business unit that really suffered for us was the QA part, and that's because QA is so hands-on, in person.
Right.
Like I can't.
And for our viewers who don't know what QA is.
Oh, quality assurance and food safety.
Yeah.
So I can do some food safety, via Zoom and those types of deals. But realistically, you don't find any of the good stuff that actually needs correcting by doing it over a Zoom that can be very binocular vision when you're going through. A lot of the stuff we catch is not a part of what the main aspect of manufacturing is. It's the stuff that goes on around it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Can't get any flavor for that off of Zoom. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but otherwise, no. Everything else, we were remote service before. We're still a remote service now.
Okay. Wow.
It's
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty fine. Well, Brandon has a fantastic story that I've heard a little bit of about how he started from essentially nothing, right? There was vapors, and you turned them into gold.
All right, so if you want a story about chicken salad out of chicken shit, then this is probably one of them, which is I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version. So
Cliff's Notes, all right.
I worked in the industry, in the manufacturing industry for a number of years. Varying levels of QA, operations, and supply chain support. Went out on my own, business deal went south, and so I had a decision to make, which was I had $250 to my name.
Wow.
Had invoices out, didn't know if they were going to get paid because it was through this business deal that had kind of gone awry. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out what to do. And, my wife says to me, well, I believe in you and I think that you should continue to try. Now I had $250 to my name with a wife and 2 kids at home.
Wow.
And rent due in 3 weeks. And so, her and I were talking about it. It's like, look, you seem to enjoy it. You seem to be good at it. You keep cultivating more clients out of it. I think you should keep going. Wow. And I was like, well, all right. It was February, mid to late February. And I just remember Expo West, which is the Super Bowl of events in our industry, was coming up. And I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. Because I slept on it at night. What am I going to do? And woke up, built myself a website the next day. I spent like 10 hours building a website.
Wow.
Had my business mentor.
What did you use for your website?
It wasn't GoDaddy. It was, now I'm going to forget it.
WordPress.
Nope.
BigCommerce.
Nope. It was one of the very...
Joomla.
All I remember was I could go in and I had this base template I could build the package off of.
Okay. And Squarespace or...
Something like that.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So Wix. That's what it was. So
the one that we use and that I didn't mention. There we go.
So I built my website in a day. Just a bare bones basic site.
Yeah.
I used, I think it was like $30 to make 100 business cards at Office Depot. I borrowed a couple of bucks from my dad because my dad and my stepmom and my mom, they were all like, well, we think you'd be really good at it. Just keep going if this is what you want to do.
Yeah. So
I borrowed $200 from my dad. I bought, at the time, I think it's still a flight there today. You can get a 5 a.m. flight on Frontier for $99 to LA. And at midnight, they fly the plane back. So for $99 out and $99 back, I could get out there and back in a day, not have hotel, not have...
Wow.
So I flew out at 5 in the morning. I didn't eat. I got to the show. I begged my way into the show because I didn't have a pass. Sorry, Carlotta. So I begged my way into the show.
Okay, so wait, how did you beg your way into the show? Because we all know we've been there where we get somewhere and we're like, oh, I don't have the...
So I knew enough people in the industry already, and there were a couple of people that I had said, hey, I'm going to be there, but I don't have a pass. Like, I have no way to get to the floor.
Yeah.
And I can't say who it is because I don't know if he would get in trouble to this day or not. But I get there, and there's miraculously a pass that's not my name. But they're like, you can get in at least, you can walk the floor, but we got to have it back at the end of the day. Okay, fine. So
wow.
I get in, I walk the floor, I give all 100 cards out.
Wow.
I get out, I go to one cocktail party afterwards just to meet a couple of people.
Yeah.
I sit there I was there maybe an hour. I go back to the airport and I sweat it out for 5 hours waiting to go home. Fly back, and then I just sat and waited. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And then it was a week after that, I had picked up close to a dozen clients out of that show, and it just snowballed from there.
So how did you... Okay. All right. So it's like the Cinderella story almost. You get there and...
I'll give you a Cinderella in history.
How did you get there and make that impact to get a dozen clients out of that by the time you came back for one day? That seems so crazy. Most people go and maybe get a few, a handful of contacts.
Oh, here's the thing. I can't tell you how I did it. All I can tell you is that I did it. Like,
wow.
How did I approach that? I mean, you got to figure that's a 12% return on 100 cards, right? So usually when you go to a trade show, at least for us, you're thinking 3% would be
Right,
nice.
3%
5.
is good.
But I think it was a combination of that, and I had a couple of, so the basement is where everybody wanted to go back then. They still do now. But it's called the basement, which is where it's used to be where the not quite bought by CPG, but I'm not new to the industry. So
Gotcha.
I'm 5-ish plus years into it. Everybody wanted to be in the basement. That's where the parties were. That's where everybody that hung out still is, where everybody wants to hang. So I had a couple of champions in the room. And so I have 2 people. I can't say their names because they're responsible for getting me the passes. But I said, if you have any questions, you can go ask this person and this person. And somehow out of that, I cultivated all that out of it. So
wow,
it was something else.
The sales miracle. That's the
all I can tell you to do is keep your head down and keep going.
So you came back, 12 clients. Next step, what do you do from there?
Just hit the ground running. Like everybody thinks it's a cute, funny story now. It's not cute and funny when you're going through it, which is, the sacrifices you make to stay in business or to be in business.
Right.
Whether it's I don't want to say they're a moral compromise, there weren't, but they're the sacrifices that you will make along the way if you're driven enough to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Moving anniversaries from the date that is supposed to happen to the weekend after or the weekend before, missing birthdays, missing first days of school. Like I said, everybody thinks it's a cute story, but it's not a story. I've slept in my car. I've not eaten for days so that my family could eat back home. Like,
wow.
So there's sacrifices you make along the way that, if you're doing it right, compound themselves, or the hope is that they compound themselves and they lead to a promising career. The thing of it is that I'm, one left versus right decision from not being here. So I count myself incredibly lucky to continue to be here and benefiting. I think now that I've made that, I don't want to say pivot, but now that I have the luxury of being where I'm at, that's why I do some of the things I do for Norco Rush, for you guys, for
us. Thank
CU and CSU. If I wouldn't be here if people didn't believe in me, and I would not think very highly of myself if I just sat around thinking about how the world could benefit me. So that's an approach I take kind of across the board.
Wow. Amazing. So along those lines, we have a lot of students who watch the show. Mm-hmm. And they're getting out of college. Usually our demographic is those who are right out of college, about to graduate, a lot of them. If they want to enter into this industry or get to where you're at, what's some advice that you can give somebody to get there, to get to where they want to be?
I think, so if you want to own your own business, it doesn't even have to be in the food industry. I just try and give some, because I work with MBA students and stuff at CU and CSU, and here's what you have to remember. First and foremost, nobody's gonna pay you for the idea that, well, I went to business school for X. Nobody cares. Like, what you have to do is you have to get in a good job, grind it out. That's how I learned. I learned at a bean plant across town. I spent 3.5 years there. I didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
I just grinded it out to learn sort of the ups and downs, the ins and outs of the business.
Right.
So from that perspective, it's finding your passion. And I was actually at a round table last time we talked about this, that it's easy for somebody in my position to say, well, find something you're passionate about. It's like, well, no, if you find something that you're good at and you spend the requisite time to be good at it, you'll learn to be passionate about it.
Okay.
So don't waste your time like, I'm really passionate about X, and you believe that that's what it's possible to be passionate about something and not be good at it.
Right.
Right. So you want to be able to make those distinctions.
Right.
And the other thing is that you want to get a business mentor, somebody that's further along, that can teach you one of the biggest lessons that I talk to people about is you have to learn the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And oftentimes where your decisions lie in those two buckets will drive a lot of different things. Is this a moral decision or is this a financial decision? Right? Because urgent is, this has to be done right now. It has to be, or the business won't be here tomorrow, or this customer will leave. Important is, I can do this in a week, can do this in 2 weeks, but it will be addressed. I just don't need to do it in this moment. And so getting a good business mentor, finding what it is you want to be good at, find it and go after it. And then a lot of things that you don't see enough of anymore, you just got to be willing to grind.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's so many people, especially when you're first coming out of college, especially in corporate, when you go into corporate, they're taking banks of people in, right? It's not them taking you and somebody else. It's that you and 30 other people, and then it's just trial by fire. At that point, it's, okay, do I enjoy this? Can I get up and be passionate about it?
Yeah.
The other part that I always tell everybody is, if you have something you're passionate about, say in the food industry, I don't care if it's food or marijuana or whatever industry it is, turn it into a side hustle. And if that side hustle doesn't turn into a job in 3 to 5 years for you, then just leave it a side hustle.
Yeah.
But if it's something that starts to turn into a real job for you, then I think you kind of unintentionally created your own path anyways. Follow that path.
And you said 3 to 5 years. Like, that's the...
I would say 3 to 5. That's a good... some people think that, again, like what I did, that somehow I spent that money, I got 12 clients, and now I'm where I'm at now. That was 3 to 5 years of me grinding it out.
The South Park episode, the Washington Redskins, when they're like, name something, profit.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So be willing to put the time in.
Yeah.
And that's,
we talk with so many businesses that they come in and they tell us, I've got enough capital, enough time for a year to try this. And I'm like, whoa, just a year? To me, you need at least 3 years worth of at least at a minimum. But I see so many businesses go in and they're like, we're going to be profitable right away.
It never everybody starts short on 2 things every single time. Money.
Yeah.
And money and time. They don't give themselves enough time.
Yep.
Right? Everybody's going to be profitable tomorrow. Really? How do you know that? Because certain industries you get in, you don't. What's the trade spend expectation in that industry? What is the distribution margins in those industries? It doesn't flip a switch and you can't go in knowing everything.
Right.
A lot of programs, a lot of things that I advise on and look at and try and help people through, and it's none of them are perfect and none of them prepare you for everything. That's why a business mentor, and certainly a business mentor that's in the category that you want to lean into, is critically important, because they're going to take that time horizon and shorten it for you. Not going to be a year, but it won't be 10.
That's great. That's great advice. Do you have a list of mentors that we can...
Usually you have to find your own mentor, because it is a combination of knowledge and your ability to get along with them.
Right.
It's not simply I go and there's this list of mentors and all of a sudden I have one. It's I've been paired with a number of people even in our industry that we got through the work, but at the end of the work we shook hands and it was like, you know what? It's time for me to go this way and you go that way.
Yeah.
We did what we needed to do.
Yep.
We were all professionals about it, but at the end of the day we knew this wasn't going to be a long-term relationship. Sense. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you watch Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, I don't know how many people could have him as a mentor. Oh man, he's go watch Shark Tank. I like
Shark Tank is interesting.
It is very interesting. It is very interesting. So now a quick pivot to marketing. As far as getting to where you want to be marketing wise, where it's like building your personal brand and things like that, do you have any sort of advice for somebody to go out and to, like, what are the things they need to build? Do they need a LinkedIn? Do they need, like, what are the things they need to show to, yes, they're being dumped as 30 people into a program, but maybe to stand out a little bit further? Is there anything they need to do in the job, outside the job? What are those steps to like start to get ahead in the pack?
So if I'm in the way that I came through, even there were some instances that they thought themselves very corporate. It was always just like, look, I'm gonna grind longer than you. I'm gonna figure it out before you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do everything I can to learn this business like it was mine. So because the more I know the nuts and bolts of the business, the more I mean to somebody else when I leave. Right? Mm-hmm. So yes, LinkedIn's important, and one of the things that I would certainly encourage people to think about, and I know it's pre-pandemic, it was something that was brought up a lot, is that if your hiring managers, if you know they're going to go to your Facebook and your Instagram and they're going to go to all those places, probably not the time to show the 30 keg party you went to the week before and got blasted all weekend. Like, there is an online presence that I didn't have to concern myself with as much, but certainly people do now, that you have to clean it up. Like, yeah. I've been in certain places where, you know, the people, I've watched interviews go sideways when somebody says, well, we found this on whatever. And it's like, well, you can't hold me accountable for the hours that I'm not here. Right. While true, once they've hired you, that doesn't mean they can't try and look and see what you're like. Because if you're a hot mess Friday at 6 o'clock till Sunday at 6 o'clock, and I have potential weekend work every now and then,
yeah,
how reliable are you?
That's gonna be rough.
It's not fair, but it is part of life now, which sucks. But
no more privacy online. There never was, but so we have a question here from Daniel James, who's upstairs right now. How do you get leads now, and what is the best form of getting leads for you?
So, especially in consulting, especially when you're a 1 or 2 person band, I was always told, and it's held true to this day, if you're good at what you do, your referrals will carry you. Your client to reaching out, somebody reaches out to them and says, hey, I need X in food safety. Oh yeah, call this guy. I need X in food safety in a USDA plant. Yeah, call this guy. You just become that synapse in between the two. As you get bigger, you have to start looking at more strategies. How do I utilize online platforms? How do I utilize Bing or Google, or are there things that I can be doing? Certainly doing trade shows, sponsoring. We sponsor, outside of this, we sponsor Naturally Boulder and the Naturally Network and Naturally Chicago. And
wow. So
it's, do I have the requisite money to spend basically putting my name out there? And you don't have to pick non-traditional means, but there are certain, like Expo West.
Okay, yeah.
So you can sponsor certain parts of Expo West, or in our case, we sponsor the Naturally Network, which has tangentially become part of Expo West and Expo East. And so there's those types of programs that you can lean into. So for me, it's how much excess capital do you have to spend is going to dictate where you put those dollars.
Got it. Yeah.
If $500 to Google AdWords nets me 50 clients, but $500 towards, Naturally Boulder nets me 1 client a quarter, where should I put that $500? Right. At some point, you have to do some sort of ROI evaluation about what it means to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the finances are pretty important there to actually look into your acquisition rate, things like that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, Josh is typing. Josh has another question. When you're looking to hire, what qualities and characteristics do you look for in someone?
For us, it's a little different because we need adults, from the perspective that I can't, like, when I go in and I pitch a client now, what I tell them is, what's oh shit for you is Tuesday for me.
Right.
I can't have somebody that has never walked through the fire,
Yeah.
then trying to put the fire out.
Right.
So for us, we're always looking for people that have had five-ish plus years in their given discipline.
Got it.
Because that for us is about that inflection point where you'd be really good for us, but you're not, VP of supply chain yet. And
Gotcha.
so for us, we kind of fit that manager and above, but certainly you've seen the fires, so you know how to put the fires out.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You've got to be a seasoned firefighter to know how to fight the forest fire. That's the... Josh has another question. Along with providing a high quality of work, what strategies do you utilize to maximize your client retention?
So that is something that we've started doing this year, which is we've launched an complete back office outsource. So we won't get into finances, but if you want to outsource your supply chain, you want to outsource your QA, we do a lower flat rate fee that you get a bulk of hours every month, and they're year-long contracts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that helps keep the churn from being so high.
Yeah. And
your retentions are higher. And we have some, I can't say who, but we have some remarkably sized clients that are on it that kind of surprised me that were interested in it.
Wow.
And they hopped right on it. I mean, I think we're up to, I want to say 24, and we just launched a program 4 months ago.
That's good.
So
I'd say that's pretty good. I don't know. I don't know about our audience, but that sounds great to me. So let me tell you, eventually, we always call when you say something really awesome on the show that everybody loves or it's mind blowing. We call it spilling the tea or spilling the hot sauce, spilling the secret sauce. So I think we're gonna develop a secret sauce, like an actual Zova secret sauce or a Zova tea at some point. So you'll be our call.
That's a good idea.
To get that going. That would be really good. And thank you for everything that you've done and all of the great advice that you've given us. This is about time to wrap up our show. It's already been a little over 30 minutes. Can you believe that? Already. It goes by so fast. And thank you to all of the people who are watching today. We're so grateful to all of our viewers. We know that most of you watch it after the fact because, let's face it, 2:22 on a Friday is kind of stupid. But we're gonna we keep it at this time anyway. So you can rewatch us on Facebook, on YouTube, on all of your podcasting devices. You can listen to us, and Spotify just released their podcast video structure where you can actually watch a podcast on Spotify, which we are part of that program. You can also, it kind of does, yeah. So they're basically YouTube, light. And so you can also watch us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So we take clips and put them on there. And I'm going to give a big hand to everybody at Marketing Tip Tea Time, Zova Marketing. One of our videos on TikTok passed 250,000 views recently. And we are on our way to having an average of 1 million views per season on the show across all of our platforms. So we are very excited about everything that we have going here at Marketing Tip Tea Time. And don't forget to like, subscribe, go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to Twitter, like and subscribe and share. If you see something that you think was particularly interesting or awesome, please share it with your friends. Please blast it all over the place. And also, if you yourself are really good at marketing or in the marketing industry or business, or you know somebody who has great insight and great stories, great tips and tricks about marketing, please send them our way and we will see if we can get them on the show. We'd love to have them. And thank you everyone once again. Thank you to Neumann, who, they didn't sponsor us, but it's a really beautiful microphone. Hopefully the sound was good. We will know after I listen to this later, I guess. And also, thank you to Hoplark Hop Tea, which I bought this, so again, they didn't sponsor, but this was surprisingly good to me. I was so skeptical, and I'm really excited. And thank you to Brandon.
Thank you.
For everything you've done for us. Honestly, the show, there was a point when we hit where there was costs. It would not exist at this point without the support from Brandon. So everyone, Hopefully, everybody clap, 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 clap. And if you're in the comments now, say hi and say bye, because that's the end of the show. And until next time, which is in 2 weeks, that we're going to be having Patrick Bradley, the Chief Revenue Officer of Tixer, who will be on the show again. He said his audio was a little janky in the last video, so he wants to come in the studio and get some good audio this time. So until next time, na zdrowie, cheers. Thank you, Brandon.